Singer Harold B. is a rising star in the world of gospel music. He is open for performers such as Ty Tribbett and singing duo Mary Mary. He has released 2 CDs, Quest, and his most recent project, Resolution.
Quest dealt with trying to find your identity, trying to be someone in the Lord, trying to find out who He wants you to be, who He created you to be. And then with this new CD I have called Resolution, the questions are over. Now you've struggled with some things, you realize some things that God has told you. Now it's time to move on with no apologies, with no regrets, and no matter what nobody says.
God, perfect in all His ways.
Harold's musical journey started at age 14 during a time of worship.
The Lord was just talking to me and gave me a vision that you'll be recording one day. I'll be worshiping. He just told me all these different things. And I said, okay, I'll do that. God is real, is good.
However, there was one small problem.
I couldn't stand to hear myself sing.
So Harold went on a quest to find his voice.
I joined the choir. I did a lot of things with the musicians. I just sat under a lot of that.
However, many of the musicians didn't have time to work with him. So Harold went to God.
And I said, well, Lord, I told the Lord, I'll never forget it. It was the one thing I said, if you give me just a little bit of what they have, I will go as far as I can with it.
Harold began his quest again, this time on his own.
I started listening to gospel music, started listening to, the Winans and Commission and all these different guys. And I'd sing along with it. And I try to mimic it exactly the way they did it, And I'll never forget, Fred Hammond was on, he's saying, "'Tis so sweet." And then when he did it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I just follow him. And I said, I could do it halfway good. And so I just learned from them and made it my own.
Harold was deeply inspired by one of the groups he studied, Commissioned.
What I liked about Commission was they did things that related to the days that I was living. But they would talk about, forgiving someone, always being in prayer, the motives of your heart. They shared things that dealt with the human part of living for the Lord, which is a struggle. And that inspired me. And so that's the kind of music that I want to bring to the world. Things that deal with everyday life, things that deal with the purpose and the identity of who you are, and just accepting that and walking in that season.
It was his own struggles that led him to write the song, No More.
I was going through some hard things, man. I had some things that I needed God to really deliver me from. Like I was walking with the Lord, but I needed to be delivered. And so that song was a testimony not only to me, but to everyone. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to go back to my mess. I don't want to be one way in church, and I don't want to be another way at home, and then come to church and lift my hands knowing that they're not holy hands.
Just as music impacted him as a teen, Harold also wants his music to speak to today's youth.
We have a responsibility to God and to our society, what we do with our music, whether it brings dividends or not. If we have music with a conscience, we can make a difference. What we forget to realize is that music has messages, and those messages actually dictate how we live, because we get it in our spirit, and it also dictates how we feel, how we react to situations.
Harold's desire for those who listen to his music is,
I want believers to have a Holy Ghost